I want to congratulate Kagarama for making it to the finals this year. Must feel awesome, right? Where are the ladies on your team? I just had 96%. Does that reflect the 96%? Okay, so we are happy to be here, and just like you heard, my name is Kenneth Agtamba, and I grew up debating throughout my school life, from primary school, secondary school, university. I was a member of parliament at university, and up to now, I ended up in a field where ideas are what I really look at. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to hearing some powerful arguments, but with courteous language, respect for each other. It's a clash of ideas, not a clash of people. So you guys should be friendly, let the ideas clash. Let me give the honor to my fellow judges to also have a few things to say.
Good afternoon to you all. My name is Nimgiza Megan, and I'll be judging the debate. Congratulations to the two teams that made it to the final. I'll ask the House to please give a round of applause to the two teams. So as my fellow judge said, this is a debate. You've done this before, and as someone who's been with you, who's walked this journey with you, I feel so proud of both of you. You've done a great job. You've been great debaters, and I am hoping to see a hot yet respectful and where we all come to an agreement, right? So I wish you both good luck, and let's see.
And the next judge is also going to tell you about time, because we don't have the entire afternoon to make our points. So you better make your points within the stipulated time.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon again. My name is Greta Bernice Minga, and I've been with you guys since the beginning of the debate. We've been through so many debates, and
the kids spend much time at school. So if the teacher notices something bad about the kid already, that teacher is going to tell it to the parents so that they can avoid what's happening. That is a comparison between the biological guardian and the academic guardian. Two, there is sensitizing the illiterate parents in getting the sex education. Those illiterate might also be the parents who don't actually want to talk about the sex education to their teachers. No offense to the fathers, but fathers actually do fear to talk to the kids about sex education. So if we sensitize them into getting the sex education by the academic guardians, that is actually a cooperation also. So this will lead to a reduction of the kids getting early pregnancies.
Please,
three, there is emphasis on sex education, on how if you already have sex, or if you already get pregnant, how to lead it and how to obtain it, and the abstinence plus education. Those are two things actually leading to a reduction of early pregnancies. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me talk about the impact of our biggest role, which is actually, okay, so the impacts are going to be stated by the next speaker. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Kalisu Danin, the second speaker from the proposition side. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be first asking some questions to the opposition side. Let them tell me how many hours do they have on their timetable for sexual education? How many hours do they have sexual education in class, such that we can see that the academic guardians are now providing sufficient and good information about the sexual education that we need? Basically, ladies and gentlemen, let the opposition prove to us at what extent do you think the academic guardians will perform the role of giving sexual education while being passionate? Like, if I'm a parent, I'm passionate such that I know I'm going to be keeping up for your future, I'm going to train you, such that in the future you'll be a good person. So how are they sure the academic guardians will be doing it passionately when they're catering for more than 50 students, and that is one person? But the parent is one with 3 children. That one can be able to cater for them all, and after all, he's going to be able to provide sufficient information, either be the mother or the father, which is going to be good. Ladies and gentlemen, they asked us what is the bigger role in the Akagoro Bakababye. Ladies and gentlemen, how many, or maybe let the parents say, how many of them attend Akagoro Bakababye? None of them. But ladies and gentlemen, we as the government are going to put more emphasis on it. What more emphasis are we going to be putting on it? This, since it's done in the districts, maybe even in the sectors, they're going to be providing like consecutive reports showing what they discussed and how effective are they going to be. Basically, you have never seen anyone making a survey to go and follow up how effective is Akagoro Bakababye, but with the proposition bringing you a solution whereby we're going to be looking at this, how effective is it, and then let us see after all, how has it helped these families? Basically, when they go in Akagoro Bakababye, they talk about problems of divorce, poor malnutrition, but ladies and gentlemen, let them also talk about early pregnancies, since it's the problem that we the youth are facing now, and you can see the solvency in it. Ladies and gentlemen, as our motion of today states, this House believes that biological guardians should play a bigger role in fighting against early teenage pregnancies than academic guardians. Ladies and gentlemen, they talked about these academic guardians spending more time with the children, like we spend many time with the academic guardians. But ladies and I'll give you time in the last minute. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine I spend more than 30 hours, more than 12 hours at school. But ladies and gentlemen, I have no hour of studying sexual. I'll give you time, please. I have no hour of studying sexual education. Then what is my role, or what is the importance of lasting long for school with sex or health education? Ladies and gentlemen, you know, the reason as to why we spent more time at school is not that they're providing these sexual educations, but it's that they want to cover up the syllabus or the curriculum for us to study it. It's not a matter of like pressing up this sexual information. No, it's a matter of covering up the curriculum and whatever. And mind you, we don't even have sexual education in the curriculum unless they prove it. So if you don't have sexual education in the curriculum, how do they think we're going to be able to like have this sexual education, since they're not providing a platform for us to have that? So ladies and gentlemen, basically we as the proposition, we came up with a plan of emphasizing of parental evening, currently stated in Kinyarwanda as Akagoro Bakababye. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, we are solving many problems which include, we talked about, my first speaker talked about family planning, which is a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. A father or a mother plans for 3 children that he or she knows that is going to be helping or giving sufficient information to them. Now imagine if one parent is able to cater for only 3 children. How can a teacher be able to cater for 50 children, then give them sufficient information since you're one? But then if it's 2 parents, they're going to be able to cater for their own 3 children and then do that. What is the point?
Thank you very much. You asked the question of hours of sexual education in schools. How many hours of sexual education are there at home?
Good, ladies and gentlemen. Good. So ladies and gentlemen, we're in a weekend. We're in a weekend right now. Basically, I'll give you time, please. Basically, from 8 a.m. to now, I've been with my parents. I had time to discuss with them. I had time to discuss many issues with them. That is to mean I got time for them to tell me whatever thing they need, which means you don't have please. Let me ask this speaker, do they have anything, like, do they have any time that is scheduled that my father is going to be talking about sexual education? No. But ladies and gentlemen, since we implement this, Akagoro Bakababye emphasize on it, it's going to be helping these parents to have a consecutive time. Now, the biggest problem, as he asked, that how many hours do you have for sexual education at home? I have none. But ladies and gentlemen, since we're going to be emphasizing on Akagoro Bakababye, parents are going to be also leaving us some time to be helping us. Then, after helping us, give us some consecutive time, which is going to be helping us to do that and then provide sufficient information for the Akagoro Bakababye. Ladies and gentlemen, unless the opposition proves how Akagoro Bakababye is not effective and how it's not going to be working long-term solution to the problem of early pregnancies, I don't get any reason as to why the opposition should be taking today's debate. Ladies and gentlemen, we talked about many problems which cause teenage pregnancies, like school drop-offs. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine if a student has no, like, a parent had not cater for his children and then tell him, go to school, get some information. That is why they're also going to be getting early pregnancies. So unless the opposition provides a better solution for this problem, they cannot take the debate. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vicky Bamlanje, and I am the second speaker from the opposition side, debating the motion that states that biological guardians should play a bigger role in fighting against early pregnancies than academic guardians. First of all, I would like to make something clear to the proposition side. We did not go against biological guardians protecting their kids from early pregnancies. When my first speaker came here, she talked about a cooperation between the biological guardians and the academic guardians. So the second speaker came here and talked about how sure are we that the academic guardians will do this with a full heart. Dear ladies and gentlemen, most of our academic guardians are also parents, and I don't think they'll act against their own nation because they're simply not their children. He also talked about how Akagorowa Kabzei has been implemented and stuff like that. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we're not going against Akagorowa Kabzei. We're just saying that if the Akagorowa Kabzei exists and there is cooperation between the academic guardians, then the effects will be much more bigger. He also talked about the hours of sexual education in schools. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I think all of us here did biology, right? We took that course. And apart from that, we also have these sex education talks that we have at school. So there is no way he can tell me that these talks will cover the whole curriculum and not give us time to study. And yet to ask him, how many hours does it take to speak with his parent? Which he didn't answer. So by the way, if the parents and the academic guardians work together, then the effect will be much more efficient. Now, the first speaker came here and talked about, he actually contradicted himself. When he was ending his speech, he said that we're not refusing the role of academic guardians. Yet when he was beginning his speech, he was saying only biological guardians can do what they're advocating for. So we want the proposition side to please be clear and take a part. So I would like to continue with my points. Now, why do we want to have this cooperation? We want to have this cooperation because if the parents, I'll give it to you later, if the parents and the academic guardians work together, then the child will be receiving more information from, by the way, two parties that care about him, and then the effect will be much more efficient. We talked about, we also want to talk about those kids that don't have biological parents. There are over 20 centers in the country of children who don't have parents. So what are they going to do for them? Are you going to ignore them? They're also part of the country. He also talked about, we talked about how some parents are illiterate or simply fear the point of talking to their kids about sex education. Dear ladies and gentlemen, this is where the academic guardians come in, because it is their role to help the kids with such stuff, and yet if we sensitize the parents even more, it will allow them to work together with the academics.
Yes, you talked about biology being taught in sex education. Please tell us that unit and tell us what you know about sex education so that we add more as the government.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, sex education is quite wide. So I don't think that I can tell you the whole... Okay, let's use the room. All of you took biology, right? Hands up, sex education, reproductive system. See? Proof. Now, so I would like to emphasize on our how. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, we have a solution for the so-called illiterate parents.
Point of information.
We would like to sensitize these parents on their roles as the biological guardians. And after that, there will be a cooperation. The cooperation is the whole point of our side. We're advocating for the guardians of the academic guardians and the biological guardians working together. So unless proposition side shows us the impact of only biological guardians being bigger than both of them working together, they're not taking this debate. I gave one, I'm not giving another one. So let's talk about the impact. Obviously, there will be a more literate population, a more literate youth. With the more literate youth, obviously, they'll be able to keep themselves unpregnant, if that's a word, and then work towards their future. And after that, they'll be able to get into the productive sector and give us a more productive future. There is reduction of street kids. Dear ladies and gentlemen, research has shown determined by parents who don't want to actually talk to them. There is also obviously a decrease in early pregnancies, dear ladies and gentlemen, which is the point of today. So we advocate for cooperation between the academic guardians and the biological guardians. We invite you to a side because it obviously makes more sense and our impacts are more effective than the proposition.
Thank you, dear judges. I'm David Ikaira from the proposition side. So, proposing the motion which states that this House believes that biological guardians should play a bigger role in fighting against early pregnancies than academic guardians. So, dear judges, I just want to make something clear. We are the opposition side. We are the proposition side. They are opposing the motion, saying they are telling us that for them, they want them to work together. The Akagora Wakabia is going to be working with the academic guardians. So, for us, we are not against the biological guardians. We are not against the academic guardians. We are also fair with them working together. But what we are doing, we are letting the Akagora Wakabia playing a bigger role than academic. So for them, we want them to work together. Yes, we are fair with it. Let them work together, but the Akagora Wakabia play a bigger role. They emphasized on something. They emphasized on something, saying that they spend much time with these teachers. Please, I want to make this thing clear. I have a lot of questions for them. Remember, each school has like 50 teachers, a school that has many teachers. Some schools have 50 teachers with 1,000 students. Imagine, how are these 50 teachers going to take care of 1,000 students and provide to them enough education than that one? Haven't you ever seen someone performing well at school, having 73 when he ends senior 6, and when he reaches to the field of the work, he fails to perform? That education that we get to school makes nothing to us. The attitudes we get at home are the ones that make us something great. You can get 73, you can get 99. When we are going to wait a bit, please. I'm going to make it clear. We came up with a plan of sensitizing. Who is sensitizing? Sensitizing from where? Doing that sensitization. How? They didn't emphasize on that sensitization. Then another thing, they talked about, they didn't analyze this. I have a question for you. Why do you think these headmasters and teachers do give suspensions to students? It's because there is a case where things go beyond their capacity and think that their parents have more power.
Point of information.
That's why they give suspensions. So there are cases which are higher than these to the teachers. Why do you think many bad manners that we gain, we as the youth, we get them from the schools? Do you know that? That's just because these teachers have this big authority to us. Another thing. So another thing. They talked about they didn't know this. Another thing why we are emphasizing Akagora Wakabia, this caters for both educating and non-educating, because we know we have a percentage of children who are not at school. That means parents, if you don't have your own parents, like they were talking about orphans, you have a given guardian. We are providing education in Akagora Wakabia and takes place at a village. It starts from a village state. That means every parent will be getting that information to provide to students. If I have no child, I have someone I adopted. I can give her an idea or an advice. And we are emphasizing on this Akagora Wakabia because it's like using one stone to kill two birds. First of all, it shall help our parents to get that knowledge about sexual education in Akagora Wakabia, because we shall be discussing about it. When they get that knowledge, they will be able to carry out this family planning. Another thing, they will be able to advise their children to abstain and advise their children how to prevent early pregnancies. That means we are killing two birds using just one stone. That's why our plan becomes so better than theirs. Another thing, especially, we know there are some teachers who dodge their lessons. He comes, he speaks nonsense, and he goes. Sometimes he never attends the class. How sure are you those teachers are now going to be serious on the sexual education of someone who is not even his children? Imagine. But the parents have that passionate about their children. They talked about how much time do parents have to teach sexual education. Parent has no time to save their children. Every time is there for their children. They don't set a given time for their children. No, every time is there to save their children. Get this, every time is there to save to save your children if you are a parent. And then they are talking about these teachers, giving them an authority. Dear judges, in 2000, compare the percentage of 2000 and 2017 today, the early pregnancies. The percentages are rising. Now they have risen to 64% from 2000 to now. Remember, reproduction was still there in education, but has not been working. And you're saying you're going to be doing that. But parents have been catering to their children now. They have been catering to them. But now they're working, they are not doing it well. That's why we are telling them, let's go back to the human behaviors over. We mothers go back as you used to do it in 2000, that you do it as you used to do it. Teach your children, keep telling them how to prevent from those early pregnancies. And that's why we are emphasizing more to the parents than teachers. Thank you. Judges.
All protocols observed, honorables, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm here by names of Manzi Joshua, and I'm on the opposition side of the motion that states that biological guardians should play a bigger role in reducing against early pregnancies than academic guardians. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my opposition side is not going against any biological guardian project of preventing early pregnancies, but what we're going with is both. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the third speaker said a good quote, you can kill one bird with many birds with one stone. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you can lift a luggage with 2 arms. So it's okay to lift it with 2 arms than one. So let's go with both, right? Fine. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a contradiction was noticed by the opposition side when they say they're not going against an academic guardian. Totally was a contradiction with the first speaker who said they're going with biological guardians only. Didn't you? Yes, you did. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's proceed. The third speaker just came here and said, teachers talk nonsense. Ladies and gentlemen, at Lycée de Kigali, we have teachers who say good things and who teach us sensible stuff, not nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. As a person who is educated, they can't say teachers talk nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. Now, proceeding. They said some schools do have things that are beyond their capacities. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's Kagarama Secondary School. It's not for the whole Rwandan schools, ladies and gentlemen. Let me unwind your ears now, ladies and gentlemen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the questions were asked. How many hours of sexual education are there in school? We asked how many hours of sexual education are there at home. They didn't answer that, but we did say that the biological courses taught in school. That doesn't stand. Proceeding. Now, to what extent does the academic guardian project of ours is preventing early pregnancies? And we said it might not work alone, but going to work with 2 biological guardians and academic guardians. Ladies and gentlemen, the impact is not going to be the same. It's going to be doubled up. Now, let me proceed, ladies and gentlemen. They said something about Akogoro Karabije from the first to the third speaker. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's the status quo. That's already there. And the motion is talking about the bigger role to be played. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is kind of a big or some role, but now what we're talking about here is the biggest role, which is constituted with 2 arms, not 1 stone. Ladies and gentlemen, let me inform you. Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the POIs or points of information were asked.
Point of information.
It is not just one. They defined a biological guardian as someone who cares for the child. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a biological guardian is that who has a genetic relationship with the child. That's a very big mistake. That couldn't define the motion, ladies and gentlemen. Now, allow me to proceed as the third speaker to elaborate more of what the opposition side is talking about here. Our argument stated that 70 hours per week are being used by the children at school, so they access teachers more than they do to their parents. So the teachers would also... Let me inform you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the third speaker. I should clarify for my side. Let me proceed, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we said a lot of time is being spent with academic guidance. Reason why they should have also asked to those children to reduce the pregnancy. There is no problem with that. There is no problem with going with both than one. I don't see the problem. They didn't say it, so it means there is no problem with that. Proceeding, ladies and gentlemen. Parents who don't have knowledge, we said who don't have knowledge to educate their children on how to reduce the early pregnancies. We said there was going to be sensitization through the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Youth to outreach to both the students and the parents to be educated, so that our plan of using both the parents and both the academic guardians would be very eased. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we said something about 17,000 of orphans in Rwanda. They didn't address that issue, and it's a very big part. What if they're talking about the biological parents? What if to those students who don't have the biological parents? Don't you think that's a problem to be addressed? Don't you think those children are also Rwandan originals? So, ladies and gentlemen, that's an issue they didn't show, which proves the weakness of their side. Their side was only talking about biological guardians, but ladies and gentlemen, our side is talking about both. Allowed. You have 5 seconds.
Where is your cooperation in your plan? Second of all, how many schools are like LDECA?
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's a kind of problem of misunderstanding. He didn't listen to my second speaker, Omoranje Viki, when they were saying that there should be a cooperation between the biological guardians and the educators or the academic guardians to ease the reduction of the children who are getting early pregnancies, ladies and gentlemen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about the impacts of our plan, which they didn't tell us. They didn't show us the significance of their plan, the significance of biological parents having a bigger influence on the children, ladies and gentlemen, to reduce the early pregnancies. Now, ladies and gentlemen, reduction in pregnancy rate. The pregnancy rate will reduce. Now, reduction of street children, since the street children who are born are from the parents who get early pregnancy and they can't handle their children. And now, productive labor, ladies and gentlemen. If students or early age don't get pregnant, there will be a labor that could sustain our Rwanda and reach our vision such as 2034. Ladies and gentlemen, let's lift our baggage with 2 hands, not with 1 stone. I rest my case. Welcome to our side. Thank you.
One minute, guys. Time's up. So we are going to begin with the opposition side. You have 3 minutes, as well as the opposition side.
Thank you. Happiness, back for the reply speech now. This is basically about what they said and what we say now. We, as the opposition side, were not against the biological guardians playing a big role, as we said. We're just simply saying they should play a big role, and the academics playing a big role, making it a bigger role. So, ladies and gentlemen, they came and said that they asked us who is sensitizing, who is doing what we're actually advocating for. My third speaker said the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Youth, which is actually going to do that. So they talked about that the cases at schools where the headmasters already expel kids due to the behaviors, to the what? Not forgetting the fact that the biological guardians, whose kids actually, the behaviors are beyond their also the capacities, which is why we need the cooperation between academic guardians and the parental guardians. So they said that the cases of unwanted pregnancies have risen. Ladies and gentlemen, they have risen. The Akagoroba of Ababyeyi was there. The teachers were there, but the cooperation between academic guardians and the parents wasn't enough there, which is why we're advocating for it now. So, ladies and gentlemen, they talked about Akagoroba of Ababyeyi, Akagoroba, but they exactly didn't Akagora of our day was already there. They didn't exactly show us how it was effective enough that it's actually going to be effective, more effective now. Ladies and gentlemen, they say that if we don't show them how Akagora of our day was not effective, ladies and gentlemen, we're not against Akagora of our day. Akagora of our day. We're actually saying this should be a cooperation between the academics and the biological parents. So they say that at school we don't have sexual education curriculum. Ladies and gentlemen, we already answered that. Where we have reproductive health and also other studies. They say that that is the importance of school without sex education. We said how we study biology and all the sexual education, and also there's some people who actually come to our schools to tell us about drugs and sex. So there is actually a sexual curriculum there. So they also told us that how are we sure that the academic guardians are actually going to do the performance, are going to cooperate with the parental guardians to actually make a bigger role, ladies and gentlemen. But then, ladies and gentlemen, how sure are we that the biological parents that were actually there are going to play a bigger role? They did actually show us the effective. So they said, how can a teacher who has over 50 students care for them if one gets 73, another one gets 99? So if the teacher is actually enough to cater for the more than 50, they get a 99 in their major subjects, how is he going to fail to make them understand the sex education that we actually enjoy to hear more about? So they also talked about that. How many hours do we have for sexual education? We talked about that, but we talked about how also the parental guardians don't have much time, which is why we're advocating for both. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much. Back with the reply speech. Ladies and gentlemen, the motion of today was this House believes that biological guardians should play a bigger role in fighting against early pregnancies than academic guardians. I want to first make something clear. The proposition was not against academic guardians, but basically we tried to prove to you how biological guardians can play a bigger role, not discriminating the academic guardians, but proving to you how biological guardians can play a bigger role, hence leading to the reducing or stopping of the early pregnancies. So ladies and gentlemen, they kept on talking about sexual education being in the syllabus. Unless they prove it to us with tangible facts, ladies and gentlemen, I go with heck. I don't have any time for sexual education. I don't have any time in economics for sexual education, in geography, in history. And I wanted them to prove to us with facts, what is that sexual education that they're talking about? Since she gave an example of only those who take biology. But ladies and gentlemen, mind you, you have PCM, we have HEG, we have MEG. Many of those don't have biology in their courses. So what are those people? So I want to also, I don't know if it's even allowed to answer or ask them some questions in the press speech as they did. But basically, I want to ask you, if I'm your teacher, can I be able to provide sufficient information or whatever is needed for the sexual education? I cannot, basically, because I don't know how you grew up. I don't know who your parents are. I don't know whatever cases you like. I don't know even if you are addicted to maybe to girls or boys. But ladies and gentlemen, since your parents are the ones that know about you, since your parents know how you grew up, since your parents know whatever thing you need for your future, for your better future, I don't see any inconvenience, or I don't see any problem that is holding you back for them to provide sufficient information, hence playing the bigger role we talked about. We talked about Akagora Bakarabje. Basically, this Akagora Bakarabje, it was to prove to you and show you how it has not been effective through people who are not attending it, but we are emphasizing it through giving consecutive reports through the cells, which are going to be showing now how it is being effective in the society and how it's also helping these people. This is going to be followed by the district which is in charge of that. Ladies and gentlemen, my first speaker gave them a question. Why do you think head teachers or headmasters expel students from their schools? That is the reason whereby they expel them from schools because their problems are overhead them, which means they think their parents can be the only solution to that. So why don't they allow that the biological guardians can handle that? Ladies and gentlemen, they talked about problems of orphans. But mind you, ladies and gentlemen, these orphans also live in orphanages. We know many orphanages which are catered for priests and many more, but those people also cater for them. Like if I've adopted you, I'm going to be able to help you, cater for you, such that I also look for a better future, since we need to reduce early pregnancies, which is going to be leading to the better future of the country that we need. So ladies and gentlemen, imagine if I spent 40 hours at school in a year, and now I don't even have any minute for the sexual education, but I spent all those minutes and all those hours for the curriculum, for me to cover up history, economics, and geography, which is not even enough for the sexual education that I need. So imagine if I've covered up the history, economics, and geography, but I did not cover up the sexual education, and then I go out, I'm going to be like get someone pregnant. So imagine if I get someone pregnant, it's going to be a problem to the country, and it's going to be a thing that is going to be like being an inconvenience to the development of the country. So ladies and gentlemen, the opposition was unable to provide all the solutions and all the problems. Like we, the proposition, cannot take this bet, and we provided a good solution, and it's a long-term thing. Thank you very much.
So please help me. Please help me give a round. Please help me give a round of applause to our fellow debaters, the Lycée de Kigali and Kagarama Secondary School. So before we dive into the rest of the debate, we would like to recognize the presence of the guest of honor, Dr. Isaac Munyakazi, who is the Minister of State in charge of primary and secondary school. So please, you're welcome. Yes, and we would also like to thank our sponsors again, Bank of Kigali, Imbuto Foundation, Rwanda Revenue Authority for hosting us here at their auditorium, Rwanda Governance Board, Business Development Board, and also Kigali Channel 2 that is covering this whole debate. So the judges, can we have a small commentary on what these people did for us, the fellow motion, because the motion was biological guardians should play a bigger role in fighting early pregnancies than academic guardians. So, Ms. Bernice, what did you have to say about how they kept their time, how they expressed their views on each side, the opposers and proposers side?
Okay, thank you. To me, I feel like both of the teams really did well research for the topic that they were given. Of course, I can't say like it was equal, but you will know how you did based on...
They'll know the verdict later.
Yeah, you will know the verdict later, but it was interesting. You are good speakers, and keep up with what you're doing. Thank you.
Okay, isn't that some sort of encouragement for you guys? Yes, thank you, Ms. Bernice. And so, Mr. Kenneth, what else do you have to add on to their performance?
First of all, good job, both sides. Good job. I'm looking at you as the government and the opposition, so I'm not sure. Do you feel you did a good job, putting your case forward? I'm just asking, do you feel you did a good job putting your case forward? Yeah? Because this is pretty much a demo of how democracy works. And the reason we really debate, the reason why that backdrop banner has all these corporations supporting this event is that you guys are going to be in charge of government, are going to be in charge of the operations of democracy in this country. And this is how democracy interacts. It's not a fist fight, it's an interaction of ideas. The government brings proposals, the opposition refines them. And sometimes when the government is, humble enough, it picks ideas from the opposition, and then the public benefits because you're all in offices to serve public good. So Bank of Kigali, BDF, Rwanda Revenue, the fact that they are supporting this, they are supporting the development of our democracy so that we have leaders in future who understand the importance of the interaction of ideas, and in the end, this is what you did. And like my colleague just said, we'll know who took the day in a few bits from now. Thank you.
Ms. Megan, please share a word after what you witnessed.
Well, this was such a hard debate to judge, provided that both teams did great. You put your points out very well. You really did great. As someone who has witnessed your journey from the beginning, I've seen so much growth for Lycée de Kigali and for Kagarama. So please applaud for the debaters. I'd also like to talk about one thing. This bootcamp, for the debate, it has been composed of more than 90% of girls. So the girl empowerment job has been done very, very well. I'd like to recognize Imbuto Foundation, and please let the House applaud for Imbuto Foundation. So about the debate, I am really, really glad that both of you could meet some of my expectations. Of course, not all of them, because you couldn't know what my expectations were, but you really met some of my expectations. I'm sure where the minister is sitting, he's very proud of the job he's doing in secondary school. As my fellow judges said, we'll know the results after, but for now, you have all done great. Putting your statistics out, the way you could point out your argument. I am very positive that this was a constructive argument and something we could all learn from. Thank you.
Thank you. Let us all have a round of applause for our judges. And I'm sure the proponents and the opposers learned very amazing lessons. It's not always about trying to win the other, but it's always also about listening and also about learning from one another. Yes, so I'm sure because you guys emerged as the finalists, but there were other schools that also took part in this National Debates Championship, but weren't privileged enough to go on to the finale. However, we have representatives who are the best speakers and would like to call them forward so that they too can have a bit of a master's debate.
You can give each other a fair play and then we'll have
So let us call upon best speakers from the different schools that didn't emerge to the finals but were appreciated and acknowledged for the work that they did. Yes, so as they take their seats, please give them a round of applause again for the hard work that they keep on doing. Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. So we'll use the same format as the first debate. It is the World School Debate format. The first speaker has 5 minutes, of which the first minute and last minute is protected. And the other speakers have four minutes. Is that clear? So let me have a volunteer read the motion for us.
This House believes that it should be mandatory to pay taxes electronically.
Do you have the same motion? Okay, so you should feel comfortable, no pressure. You should feel like the House is supporting you. We as judges are not here to, to frighten you or something. And we expect a very good debate from the best speakers from all over, right? Shouldn't that be the expectation? Yeah. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, both sides and the audience. I recognize the presence of the judges and all honorables here. And by the names of Kariza Ruzivizalina, first speaker from the proposition side, here to debate on a motion that states that this House believes that it should be mandatory to pay taxes electronically. I'll start by defining some of the key terms. First of all, what's a tax? A tax is a compulsory payment that is imposed by the state onto its citizens. Then by should is a word used to indicate obligation or duty. What is mandatory? Mandatory is something that is required by law, it's something compulsory, it's something imperative or essential. Then by electronically, I mean doing something by means of electronic equipment or devices. First of all, our team line as the proposition side is electronic payment, a stepping stone to our development. Therefore, I will tell you that I'm here to say that it should be compulsory or imperative to pay taxes electronically. This is not something which is new. This is something that is in the status quo. The taxes are being paid electronically. But what we, the government, have seen is that although it is compulsory, not everyone is involved. So we're making it compulsory to make sure that everyone is involved. Why are we making it compulsory? First of all, to reduce tax evasion. Rwanda Revenue Authority as a body which assesses taxes in Rwanda has shown that it loses 1 billion Rwandan francs due to tax evasion. By using cashless means or electronic payments, this will assure us of guaranteed monitoring of all payments such that tax evasion is reduced. Achieving the objectives of Rwanda Revenue Authority. Rwanda Revenue Authority, as a body that is interested in assessment of taxes, has to ensure that there is a good tax system. And a good tax system comprises of different principles of a good tax. First of all, it has convenience. Imagine a person works 7 days, 24 hours, and you expect that person to come and pay in person. That person, a tax should be convenient. A person should pay when that person has time to pay, when that person knows that he or she is paying the tax in the right way. So you are making someone uncomfortable coming to you to pay the tax instead of being there and doing the work he or she is supposed to do. Deny, please. The other thing is achieving a cashless economy. Rwanda, according to EDPRS2, has targeted to have a cashless economy at 55% by 2024. Now tell me how Rwanda is going to achieve a cashless economy. Can you please give me time to inform you? How is Rwanda going to achieve a cashless economy if there are still payments that are being made to the government in cash, hand in hand? This is why we should alternate to electronic means so that we develop a cashless economy to ensure that by 2024, Rwanda has that 55% of a cashless economy that it's targeting. The other thing is that it saves time. People need to do their businesses when they have a peace of mind. People need to sit at home and know they have property that they're paying for in the right time, in the most convenient way. So it will save time for people to go instead of going on a line that you're going. Please let me inform you. Instead of going and waiting that for the line at Rwanda Revenue, you can pay using your phone, you can pay using other electronic means. The other thing is that how are we going to do this? First of all, who is going to do this? Ask the government who set policies are going to do this. Then how are we going to do it? First of all, we are going to apply the law. The government is the one which passes policies. So we are going to use the law to ensure that all people pay using electronic means. The other thing is increasing costs on cash or hand-to-hand payments and decreasing costs of electronic payments. Dear distinguished judges, both sides and the audience, who can't alternate for a cheaper and better method? What we're going to do, we're going to reduce the cost of paying electronically, and the other thing we're going to do, we're going to increase the ones on paying cash hand in hand, so that the people are going to see that they have to alternate for a cheaper and better way. The other thing, we are going to work more with telecommunication companies. As I started when I was saying, this is something that is in the status quo. This is something that's there. So what we're going to do, we're going to work more with the telecommunication companies so that we can be sure of what we're doing. Dear judges, I would like you to come on our side because the opposition cannot tell me how electronic means are not the right ones to pay taxes and be made compulsory for that. Thank you.
Distinguished guests around, yes, good afternoon. By names of Corinne Boris, debating on the motion of today that strictly says this House believes that it should be mandatory to pay tax electronically. Ladies and gentlemen, let me first define the keywords first of all before I lay out the whole debate. Ladies and gentlemen, mandatory is an adjective explaining something that you must do and obey compulsory. Ladies and gentlemen, electronically. Something done using a computer or any other electronic device. Why is taxes? Money that's paid to the government so that it can provide public services. Ladies and gentlemen, she kept saying about electronic payments in the status quo that is being compulsory, ladies and gentlemen. So before they come here and take the debate of today, they must first of all tell us the machines that work under the electronic system of taxes, ladies and gentlemen. More so, if this is being done, ladies and gentlemen, let them come here and give us the statistics that state that these people are using the electronic payments of taxes, ladies and gentlemen, before they take the debate of today. More so, they have said that they are going to reduce on tax evasion, ladies and gentlemen, but they have not brought a clarity that is being said, that comes here and say, who recognizes these activities that are being done? Second of all, who works under this as a role? Ladies and gentlemen, they said, or they set a time bound of 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, the electronic payments also needs education. Like, I need education.
Point of information, please.
Allowed, please. Let me first inform you. Like, I need education and I'm old age, ladies and gentlemen. You mean I'm going to also go back to school, get that information, get skill, get that training, ladies and gentlemen, and of which I'm old aged, ladies and gentlemen. My skills to pursue that, or my skills to get to know that, is little compared to the young ones that can do it, ladies and gentlemen. Are you not going to recognize me as a
point of information?
Wait, ladies and gentlemen. And most of them came here and said about
I insist, point of information.
Telecommunication companies, please tell me your point.
I would like to ask you, you said you need to go to a school to get that knowledge. Is all the knowledge you get acquired from necessarily school?
Thank you so much. What's a school to you, first of all? A school to me is where I go, advance my knowledge, ladies and gentlemen, and once I advance my knowledge, I get the clear understanding, I get the skills, ladies and gentlemen, of which I can pursue my thing, ladies and gentlemen. More so, ladies and gentlemen, they talked that they are going to work with telecommunication. Ladies and gentlemen, working with telecommunication. Let's first handle MTN. MTN is one of the big companies under the telecommunication, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I'll say some information before I go far. The CEO of MTN being Mrs. Mitwa Kayemba, the Chief Sales and Distribution, Mr. Mnyamudu Noman. Ladies and gentlemen, with clarity, ladies and gentlemen, they tell us the biggest bound or the biggest barrier, ladies and gentlemen, is the people that are not involved in this due to the low skills or due to the low trainings about this, ladies and gentlemen. Are we going to leave these people out there, ladies and gentlemen? Most, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you good statistics that will make this clear, ladies and gentlemen. 32% don't, okay, talking about electronic payments, let's talk about mobile money, right? Momo. Ladies and gentlemen, 32% don't know what Momo is currently in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, 25% don't have smartphones to carry out the mobile money, the electronic payments. Ladies and gentlemen, 13%.
Point of information.
Wait a bit. 13%.
Point of information, I insist.
Can I please inform you, lady? Thank you. 13% don't know how to use it. Ladies and gentlemen, if 13% don't know how to use this mobile money,
point of information.
Ladies and gentlemen, 11% don't
point of
need
information,
it.
I insist.
11% don't need this mobile money. If you do it again, consider that as an offense. Dear judges, consider that. Thank you. 5%. Ladies and gentlemen, 5% don't understand these services, the services of mobile money. 5% think it's a difficult thing to use. Second of all, 2% don't have the required documents. 86% don't need Momo at all. 7% are backed up by charges that are too high, ladies and gentlemen. If the high charges of taxes, or for you to pay taxes electronically are too high, then what am I going to do? So then, ladies and gentlemen, let me also talk about electronic payments, in which 34.1 given by Energy PDI.info, ladies and gentlemen. Talking about electronic payments. Ladies and gentlemen, electronic payments, let's also talk about Beka. Thanks to the corporate expert National Bank of Kigali is around, Mrs. Doreen Makumi, she's around, and she will clarify more, ladies and gentlemen. If she's around and she's going to tell us the clarity of this, and she's also saying that the biggest barrier is educating people, ladies and gentlemen, then where are we going, ladies and gentlemen? I've not given you a scenario, but this is not the end. I think in God we trust we can make it. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Being Shimi Magnifique, second speaker from the affirmative side. Allow me to drive the economy of our country towards excellence and towards the effectiveness that the economy deserves, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to first come to what the first speaker from the opposition side has been saying. 24% don't have smartphones, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to ask the first speaker. Are only taxes paid by smartphones, or any phone can access the payment of taxes, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen, after seeing that 24% of people don't have smartphones, I don't have a smartphone. I remember my dad paying taxes on his Katorushi, ladies and gentlemen, the KZG telephone. It can also access paying taxes, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not even count the people who don't have phones, ladies and gentlemen. Paying taxes does not mean you have a phone. Even if you can go to website, ladies and gentlemen, you can only go to website and then pay taxes, ladies and gentlemen. You can pay a lot of taxes through not even having your only phone, not even moreover one smartphone, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to come on a problem and say that people who are not educated. I remember when you go to RRA, you want to pay taxes. There's a beautiful lady who always asks you, what kind of taxes do you want to pay? Then they guide you, ladies and gentlemen. There are guidelines with which you follow step by step, ladies and gentlemen.
Information?
Allowed?
Yes, about not being paid by smartphones, then what machines do you have? This
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Statistically.
If I'm not going to put my smartphone, another machine I have is my phone, which is not a smartphone, ladies and gentlemen.
What information?
I'll only allow one more. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to continue. Remember, before RRA implemented the use of EBM and everything, they first explained, this is how we use this machine. This is how we use everything, ladies and gentlemen. Which means people are going to use these machines, ladies and gentlemen, and these electronic stuff, ladies and gentlemen, are aware of what they are doing, ladies and gentlemen. They don't just give you the first thing, this machine works like this, and then you're aware of what you're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to go further, ladies and gentlemen, to our topic. After analyzing the total tax evasion that has been there before making electronic payment mandatory, ladies and gentlemen, after analyzing the problems of how taking taxes not electronically, ladies and gentlemen, this is where you're going to implement this, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to show you where you're going to do this. Since you have 76% of people having phones, 76% of the people can now access paying electronically the taxes. And the 24% is not a burden, because only taxes cannot be paid on phones. You can even use the ABM and all other stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to go further, ladies and gentlemen.
What information?
I said they will allow only one. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, after saying there is no higher cost when you pay taxes electronically, ladies and gentlemen, after saying that electronic payment is not of any further higher cost, ladies and gentlemen, and it is becoming effective, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to implement the effectiveness, ladies and gentlemen, towards the economy, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to come to our side. We've seen that our tax evasion, we've seen that our tax electronic payment is not going to cause any problem with evasion. They have to come and prove to us how the problems of tax evasion, of not using electronic payment, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be tackled. Because if you use electronic payment, we are going to have the statistics of how people are paying, of how everything is flowing, ladies and gentlemen. And if they don't have electronic machines of doing that, ladies and gentlemen, how are they going to prove the people have not paid tax taxes, ladies and gentlemen? How are they going to prove anything, all the statistics, all the information of how that stuff is going to work, ladies and gentlemen? Allow me to say that there is easy auditing when we use electronic payment of taxes, ladies and gentlemen. If we make electronic taxes, ladies and gentlemen, if everyone pays electronically, it means auditing is going to be very easy. They're going to see everything, every information is kept, ladies and gentlemen. How are they going to prove that when they don't have electronic payment, ladies and gentlemen? What about the people who don't pay electronically? How are they going to analyze this? How are they going to get this stuff? How are they going to get information about all this? This is a burden they have to prove, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to come to decrease of crimes, ladies and gentlemen. If people are not paying electronically, it's easy to come and give you my money like this, and it's going to cause crimes like even corruption, ladies and gentlemen. But if I pay electronically on my phone, how is crime rate going to rise when I have electronic payment, ladies and gentlemen, when I'm paying electronically, other than them paying with, ladies and gentlemen, with hands, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to come to the last point, ladies and gentlemen. Making electronic payment mandatory is not causing any burden to the people and is effective. Thank you very much.
I am a soldier for the truth, a soldier for the unheard, and a soldier for the voiceless. Opposing the motion, it states that this House believes that it should be mandatory to pay taxes electronically, dear Judge. And we are here opposing this motion as the second speaker. Dear Judge, this government of ours that we are having here is not considering us, the population, us, the citizens, dear Judge. They're here to make paying taxes electronically a mandatory action. And dear Judge, do they know that only electricity penetration in our country is 34.1% according to energypedia.info. How are they going to be introducing all the EBM machine which is taking 15% from the transaction which are made? And yet EBM machine, electronic billing machine, they use electricity. And yet electricity is not fully in our country. They have to answer that, dear Judge. And they came here, but they didn't specify how. If they make paying taxes electronically mandatory, they're going to be supporting people. My first speaker clearly showed us how 32% of our population don't know what mobile money is. And dear Judge, they didn't tackle that. I'll give you later. Let me first inform you. Dear Judge, they came here and said that 76% of our country, of population of our country they are accessing funds, but they didn't give us any relevant source information, which will make that unconsidered, dear Judge. But dear Judge, I want to ask them how they are going to be managing the risk of fraud, which is going to be there, dear Judge. Let me tell you that $5 million were lost from 2015 to 2019 due to cashless transaction, which is also involving tax payment, and that was a big loss to our country, dear Judge. And also 90% of the Rwandan population, dear Judge, are involved in informal activities, which makes the government not controlling all the transactions that are taking place. And dear Judge, the first speaker came here and identified one harm, which is that the tax are not paid compulsory, which means the tax are not paid 100%, dear Judge. But how will making paying taxes electronically solve that problem? That's not the problem. Is the people's mentality. People are not trying digitalization. We have unskilled labor in our country, and they're coming here introducing paying taxes electronically. It means mandatory means something which is done 100%. It means that there will be no more face-to-face transaction of taxes. And I want them to tell us how they're going to be doing that till 2024. They gave us a time frame which is 2024. How will they be having tax paid electronically 100% in 2024? You have to tell us that, dear opponents. Can you tell me your point of information?
You say that the government doesn't care. What is the government?
You are the government, and yet you are only emphasizing on making tax payment electronically, 100% electronically, and yet you're not considering that 39% of the Rwandan population is under poverty, and 16% of the Rwandan population is under extreme poverty. How are you caring if you consider that? So they also came here saying that they are going to be guaranteed monitoring, and yet, dear Judge, tax payment is now up to 80%, and 62% of tax payment is made face to face, which leave the other remaining from 80% done via electronic payments. And dear Judge, if tax have been increasing up to 80%, as you found on imagepedia.com, how increasing or making tax payment electronically compulsory going to be giving us 100% of tax payment? You have to answer that, dear Judge. Dear opponent side. Dear Judge, they came here, they gave us a time frame which is irrelevant. You didn't give us any relevant source information. I hope the judge will be considered. And I want to ask you, how will you manage to get the system or the paying system in public 100%? They have to tell us that, and they have to answer the question that we're going to be giving them. Thank you very much.
Since I entered this room, I know everybody has been wondering what my names are. I'm here by the names of Ingabire Apihaja from the proposition side, proposing the motion which says that this House believes that it should be mandatory to pay taxes electronically. I agree 100% with this motion. And the reason as to why I'm smiling is not because I'm happy with these people, what they're advocating for. It's because my name is Happy, and I'm advocating for a happy Rwanda. I am the government. I'm going to take decisions, which is the compulsory paying of taxes electronically in Rwanda. So, dear judges, I'm here to refute what these speakers have been saying. First, the first speaker came... Dear judges, this first speaker came and said that the Rwandans do not have skills. But, dear judges, if a person... we are already using it. When you are going to pay for example, for an electricity bill, you take your phone. Everybody in here, Rwanda, speaks Kinyarwanda and English. Not everybody speaks English. The one who doesn't speak English speaks Kinyarwanda. And according to what I know, to what I use in my everyday life with my family, we use MTN. And MTN uses 2 languages that everyone can understand. And this here, we don't need internet. We have a phone. And here, you are going to access every service. So, working with the telecommunication companies, we are going to be using MTN with this Rwanda Revenue Authority, this that's in charge of collecting taxes, to promote the awareness and to make people to pay the taxes. Second, they say that there is 13% of people who don't know how to use phones. And they said that 13% of people don't know how to use phones, but MTN and Airtel, they have agents. These people are going to be there to help the people who don't have phones, to help the people who don't know how to use phones. Dear judges, and he said 26% don't need to use mobile money. I'm here to answer this. This 26% is present because this thing is not compulsory. But if it's compulsory, if it's a must, if you have to do it, it's going to be eradicated, and we're going to be having 100%. Allowed, please?
Yes, please consider me as an illiterate in this field, and please tell me the procedures of paying tax electronically.
Exactly. These people are bad listeners. I've been saying that we have agents. Those who don't know how to read are going to go to the agents. Hopefully you're answered.
Point information?
No, please. The second speaker came here and said that 34.1% electricity. People, we are not using EBMs. EBMs are not used to pay taxes. They are used to see the data that are going to be required to pay taxes. So, dear judges, we are here working with the telecommunication companies. The government is working with telecommunication companies, not EBM. Please. Dear judges, the second speaker said, and he said that we didn't have relevance, but we have www.economist.rw, where we got the 76% of people who don't have phones. So here they say that the problem is the mind of the people, not the feasibility. But here, if the people don't have the mind, it's because that thing is not compulsory. And I'm just going to present the impacts of what we are establishing. One, we are going to Rwanda Revenue Authority is going to meet its objectives, which is to have a stable taxation, which is free from tax evasion. That's present now because the tax paying electronically is not compulsory. 2, we are going to reduce tax evasion. 3, we are leading a digital life. This is where Rwanda is going, and these people think it gets to the past. How can you use this liquid? Okay, we are going to promote digital life, achieving cashless economy, saving time, easy use of money. People travel to go to where they are going to be paying taxes, yet they should be working for other money.
Point of information.
We are going to increase the tax base. We are going to increase tax collected. Thank you so much. I invite you to your side.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we get older, we become more honest and don't have patience for pointless drama here. Ladies and gentlemen, by names of here. First of all, I come from a school called Rusumo High School in Chile District in the Eastern Province. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a 6-hour drive. If I'm going to do advocacy, I have to do advocacy for the poor. That's what I'm going to tackle on. Because this is some policy that has to tackle the whole government. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's first go toward the proposition side. Is saying basically our government here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the first speaker came here talking about a 1 billion amount of money that was lost, which I even don't know when was that, because basically I'm from Chile, I don't even know those statistics. I need credibility. If the government is here to give us statistics, we need things that we can actually do what? Can actually accept. Ladies and gentlemen, they came talking about the tax evasion. Yes? That's a problem. But then, ladies and gentlemen, let's first ask ourselves, the solvers of the plan they're bringing, how is it tackling this problem? That's a problem. Now, ladies and gentlemen, they're telling us that their time frame is 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, at school, I have a grandmother who is living close to our school, whereby we go to eat food, which is for, actually the highest cost is 200. Now I want to ask a question. How is an EBM machine, which even I don't know, the affirmative team had to first show us what an EBM machine does. How is that going to be used in an EBM machine? Ladies and gentlemen, they are telling us that they are going to decrease electronic payments and actually increase cash in what? Payments. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 39.1% of the people that lies under the what? The poverty line. If we are going to increase, we are going to put more burden to them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, are we fighting for the population here, or we are actually not fighting for the population? Now, ladies and gentlemen, the second speaker came here telling us that 76% of them don't have funds. By the way, if they don't have funds, then how is that system going to operate? Because if you're telling us that was a contradiction that the third speaker said. 76% don't have funds. And I'm asking myself, if they don't have funds, what are they going to do? Because if you can't have a phone, I don't believe you can access a laptop. Now, ladies and gentlemen, they're telling us that they're going to decrease crimes. Crimes like, I hear, corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, this debate is live. Public figure counts. The Rwandan government has been fighting corruption for almost different years. We don't have that problem. Let me clarify this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's first go back to the point they're telling us. The third speaker came here telling us about things that tackle her life. Now, I'm asking myself, we are 13 million. How many of you in this house have the same life like us? None. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So what the government does not know right now, it's that it's tackling what we call an economic of the country. So if the economy of the country is led with intellectuals like these ones, I fear that we actually going to be like Zimbabwe, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's first clarify ourselves. We have problems right now that actually they failed to tackle. The motion is saying a mandatory. That means it's a must. Before this has to be done, everything has steps. I've never seen a young baby who's born and then starts eating cassava. A baby first eats things in a step. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the government wants to fly away to using electronic payments, yet the investments that have to be done before are not yet done. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to first educate. We have to first educate, which by the way doesn't have a time frame. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude. The government was given time to give us a framework of what they would be doing. But as the opposition side were like saying, let's stick at the status quo. Both systems are being done. Due to what? The standard of living of people, because not all people are rich to use these systems. But they're telling us not to make it a must. Whereby I'm asking myself, what will happen to the 39% of the people under the poverty line? Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I would love to say is this. There is need of carefulness to know the people we are giving this debate to. Otherwise, remember, ladies and gentlemen, that also the devil was once an angel. We shouldn't fall for this. Ladies and gentlemen, these people here are telling us things according to their own standards of living. As the opposition side, we are the citizens. As long as their plan does not tackle the whole population in an adequate way or manner, we don't advocate for that plan. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not drive our economy to where we don't want to see it. Now, we have another problem, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, rest my case.
Both teams have 1 minute to prepare for the reply speech, and then we'll have 2 minutes to deliver our reply speech.
request or information, they're like, no, I feel like naturals are not convenient to their plans. Another thing, like changing engagement, is their plan. So you know everything that's said. So what you're going to do, you have a 20 days and say, there's a picture in chat, but the picture in chat phones, electricity. That's what that problem.
So let's have one speaker from the negative side.
Thank you once again, dear judges. I'm coming back as Visier Moringa. As we were discussing on the motion, it said this has believed that it should be a mandatory to pay taxes electronically, which as the opposition side, we told you that mandatory means doing something 100%, and which explains that the proposition side should have advocated that paying taxes should be paid electronically 100%, and we came showing them the burdens or the problems that are existing in our country which cannot permit us or permit the government to take the decision of making taxes payments electronically 100%. We showed them about the percentages of 32% people who don't know what mobile money is. We told them that electricity usage in Rwanda is 34.1%, as we found from energypedia.info. We proved them that they say that they want to have a stable tax system without tax evasion, and yet we showed them that $5 million were stored or were lost last year due to electronic payments, which was done. They say that there will be decreasing crimes like corruption, and yet we showed them there is no corruption in our country, as my third speaker said it. They say that they're going to be the use of EBM, which I told them that EBM takes 15% from the transaction, and that 15% is taken as the tax to the government, and yet we showed them that EBM machines are expensive. We came here and asked them their effectiveness. We came here and asked them the credibility of what they were talking about, the reliability, how all the people are going to be accessing what they lack. They came here and said about the agents, about the MTN agents. My first speaker asked them how, if they're going to be paying those agents or what. They didn't say anything at all. Dear Judge, they weren't even accepting PRI's point of information. I hope that you consider that. They didn't even answer all the questions. We asked them about their legal framework. Dear Judge, they didn't tell us anything at all. They said that their time is 2024, but we told them that it's less time. Dear Judge, I believe across of the world is judged by those who have a dream, and I have a dream that you'll be all remembering us for this wonderful decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good afternoon once again. I'm back again for a simple game of what they said. First of all, I'll start by something the third speaker just said, that by 2024. I would like to inform you that we say that 2024 is when we're achieving a cashless economy. No one set that timeline. They made it for themselves. Proceeding, I'll start by saying they say that 24% don't have mobile phones. Dear judges, do you necessarily have to use your phone to pay it? Let me give you a simple example. I am using this microphone to speak because all of you need to hear me. He used it, she used it. They did the same. I can use my phone, I pass it to another person, the person passes it to another person, and I am not necessarily using my phone. The other thing is that they say that the government doesn't care. What's the government? The government is a constitution made by the people for the people. Who would the government be putting policies for if it weren't for the people? How do you come here and say that the government doesn't care? Then how we're managing fraud. We showed them how electronic payments are so safe. Electronic payments, we showed them how they're safe. They're operated by software engineers. How do you look at software engineers and you put them in comparison with security guards? Then they also asked us how will tax evasion be solved electronically. What I saw from the debate is that the opposition side was not following the debate. We told them that tax evasion will be solved because all payments will be regulated and monitored such that there will be no tax gaps, hence solving tax evasion. The other thing is that we say that 76.1 have funds already, and they didn't tackle the point of tax evasion, and they talked about mobile money. Dear judges, come to our side because the opposition side is really unrealistic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Please help us give a round of applause for these amazing speakers. Yes, so I would, let me give one of them. So I would like one of the representatives, how do you feel you did to make sure that your points went across?
Thank you. We tackled what we had to do, and we think we tried our best.
Okay, I like the positivity. And what do you guys, you have a microphone? Yeah, so how do you guys think you did?
Actually, we believe we did the best, because as the way the motion was starting, we were looking at actually a general perspective of the whole nation, which they actually failed. But anyway, we shall give them another chance of next year.
I see you're very confident. So before we ask our judges for their opinion, we would like to thank our sponsors, Bank of Kigali, the Rwanda Governance Board, Imbuto Foundation, of course, Business Development Board, and Kigali Channel 2, which is always there for you, La Pour Vous, which is covering this session in the auditorium of Rwanda Revenue Authority, which we're thanking as well. So Ms. Bernice, can you please give us a few words how they kept their time and also how they were able to deliver their messages and how they did it profusely?
You know, they say it's not what you say, but how you say it. And that's the art of public speaking. That's the art of debating. That's the art of convincing. And I want to congratulate you that you did try to put your messages across. But you have a long future ahead of yourself to keep refining, you know. To keep refining, because what really makes a great debater are a few aspects, and I would like to mention them. You have to be a great listener, because it's what the other person says that you're going to reflect on to actually, you know, arm yourself with a counterpoint. And that's a skill we learn every day. It's not something you can capture today and say, yeah, I'm done learning, you know. You keep learning and unlearning. Great listener. It's a very important aspect of a great debater. Conceding defeat. You know, sometimes I saw some of you deliberately refusing to take either information or not. That's not wrong. You know, somebody could say something. It shows how honorable you are when you can actually say, oh yeah, you're right. But how about this, you know? So being noble in actually accepting other people's ideas is a mark of a great debater. And you did try in different aspects. I really want to applaud you on that as well. And finally, respect. Respect. It's very, very important. I keep emphasizing this, that I want you, if you're in the affirmative, to look at yourself as the guys in government. And look at these guys as the guys in opposition, but they normally say the opposition is government in waiting. So if you show them respect and they come in government, they'll give you the same respect you show them when you're in government. So it's really very important, and I know that the fact that you're here, you must be holding some levels of responsibility in your schools. You need to pass on these messages to the rest of your colleagues in the room, having respect for each other. And respect is not in how you say, but also the body language. Sometimes you say, okay, point of information accepted, but when your body language is resisting, you know, like it's in disagreement. So, but you did a great job, and I saw great speakers. For sure, this was a masterclass. You know, let's clap for them. It was a masterclass. The way you articulated your points, the confidence, you know, the confidence in the subject itself, but also in yourself. You know, I liked the way you used the stage. You know, not restricting yourself behind the podium. You know, I mean the pulpit, but also coming and using the stage. That is very inspirational. I know a lot of adults who cannot do what you just did here. So I want to congratulate you, but I wasn't asked to give, you know, the judgment of who won. I guess that will come after, right?
Yes.
So congratulations, and maybe you may shake hands.
Thank you, Mr. Kenneth. So you guys can now congratulate yourselves with each other, please. Yes. As the auditorium, please give them a round of applause because they did an amazing job. Oh, it's always good to witness the youth taking part in challenging situations like this. So as we move on, you guys can now take your seats. Yes, so we would like to call upon one of the representatives of our sponsors, like we keep on mentioning, Imbuto Foundation, Rwanda Revenue Authority, Rwanda Governance Board, Business Development Board, and of course the Kigali Channel 2 that is covering this amazing debate championship. So we would like to call upon one of the representatives of Bank of Kigali, Thierry Nshuti, to come and say a few words.
Good afternoon. Very proud to see how the young Rwandans are really defending themselves. You really look knowledgeable, and you really look like you understand the importance of having an information to defend your points. Don't be like those people who just like to say without having facts. Keep searching. Make sure you convince people. And of course, don't only search for debate. Search also for financials, financial information. How do you grow yourself financially? Don't fear to look for banks. Is it getting the video? Don't fear to look also for financials, like how do others become richer? What do we need to do? Start thinking of it at your young age. We do have banks. Start searching for good banks. What does a good bank mean? I don't have a doubt you'll find Bank of Kigali as a very good bank, and we welcome you in it. Second point, we always talk about gender equality. Our sisters, if you saw what happened here, they are really very confident in what they say. It's not a dream, I think it's a fact that they will be able to lead us. Don't forget to tell those ones who think like leading is not for girls, but they are lying to themselves. They can do it, they can defend their points, and they can help in the development of this country. It has been proven here. We all saw it, and we are all very proud of it. My last point. Actually, it's time for you to own a banking account. We all say digital is the way to go. Yes, it's true, but it's also time for you to start managing your pocket money from your own account. Financial education, it's not something you start when you get your first job. That will be a mistake. It happened to us, we don't wish that to happen to you. By the time you got our first job, it's the time we went to open our first account. You know what was the issue? You get your salary, you remove all your money at once, then before the month ends, you feel like you need somebody to borrow, some money to use. It was a very big mistake because we didn't consider the financial education as we were growing up. Change that. Start putting your pocket money on an account. Don't take it all in your pocket. Start using it slow by slow as you need it. Start having that culture of making the savings for yourself. If you want to go on holidays, you plan to do some visits or to participate in some games, it would be very clever for you to have some money you kept on your account, you saved on your account, so that you use it. It will make you very proud. And for sure, bank sector has a lot of product for you. Don't wait by the time you get in your first job. Get your financial education by now and come to Bank of Kigali. We will be able to serve you. We've been very proud to be with the national debate since the beginning, and the journey continues. We will keep meeting you guys, and we will start engaging you during those competitions so that you understand more the importance of financial education. Thank you all. Keep it up. Keep the good job. And say also thank you to your teachers, your headmasters for the good job they are doing. If you see what we are able to defend here, and your parents to keep supporting you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thierry Nshiti, for representing Bank of Kigali so well. And in this moment in time, we're going to now welcome our guest of honor. Please, the auditorium, may you please stand up as we welcome our guest of honor, who is the State Minister of Education in Secondary School and Primary School.
Good evening, all. Let me start my speech by giving vote of thanks to the organizer. Thank you once again for having invited me to this very important event. I was surprised. Actually, when they went to my office, told me about this event. I said, yes, I will come. But I was not thinking that I'm coming to be challenged by the debaters telling us what we are feeling as government. But fortunately, the others who are saying government is doing enough, I feel released. I say, at least someone is standing on our side. But I would like to thank you very much. I think at this time I will be doing something else, but I'm not regretting all the time I spent with you, because it was worth. It was worth to be part of this very important activity, which means a lot to the education sector. Thanks again to the judges. I pity you. I was asking my neighbors there that, what will be the judge now? What is coming out? When this side talk, I said this one will win. And the colleagues, when they stand up, I say, this will win. Finally, it's the job of these judges. And we are yet now to hear the great job you're doing, but I'm sure it's been a hard time for you to choose the best, and at the end to choose the winner among these great speakers. But to me, they are not only great speakers, but they are also great thinkers. Congratulations to the finalists. You made it a point out of so many schools, but you are the ones who came here in front of us. So I take this chance to congratulate you to have been the finalists. And at the end, I would also take this chance as I'm standing here to congratulate the winners soon to be announced. But honestly, to me, you are all winners. Looking at your ideas, your critical thinking, I really liked your communication skills, more especially your self-confidence. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. And with you, Rwanda will be or will have a better future. On behalf of Ministry of Education, we really appreciate this good initiative and pledge our support to have it at another level. And why not? Having the winners representing Rwanda in international debate competition. We will move together. We will move closely with the organizers who are doing a great job. I think inviting us here is that collaboration which they wanted. And I pledge to you that we'll move together in the future journey. And I hope that the future competition will be much more at a higher level, and the government of Rwanda will support this because it is emphasizing the role of our competence-based curriculum. The competence-based curriculum, which is set on 4 main pillars. The first one is critical thinking, which you have manifested here. The second one is problem solving. Actually, when you are a critical thinker, it becomes very easy to find problems, to find solutions of your problem. The third pillar is about communication skills. All what we are doing, we need to open up with other countries. We need to communicate in our businesses. That's why we emphasize much in our mother language plus other international languages, which are part of the languages which are officially accepted in our constitution. The fourth one is values. I liked the first motion. Of course, with the second, you really touched very critical issues. The first one was about the values. It's also part of our curriculum. We need to build a knowledgeable, skilled child with right values. If we talk about early pregnancies, it's about values. Who should address this? I'm yet now to hear from judges. Who own? Government, schools, parents, but to me, before I hear what comes out from the judges, I think this is a public issue. It's not a government issue. It's not something we can address from schools alone. It's not something we can address right from community alone, but complementarity. Education is about what we learn from parents, but schools comes to supplement them through systematic approach, which is built under the curriculum. But this has to be complementary. You can't think that you can succeed in schools without contribution of parents. And I'm sure parents cannot do it alone. That's why at a certain age, they take their kids to school, because the school provide what they can't provide. Second motion, tax, electronic. Today we are talking about ICT. ICT has made the world, the first world, be the so-called first world. That is where Rwanda wants to be. Should we remain in ancient times, or we also need to move faster and integrate ICT in what we are doing? Can we get there today? But everything needs to have a start. Where do we have to start from? Mindset. Accepting change. Believing that where Rwanda came from and where we are today is because there was what we call determination of our great leader. Having a visionary leader who has set up what we called Vision 2020. Today we have Vision 2050. That is what is driving our country so fast. And this is for the interest of public. Whatever is done by the government is done on the public interests. No decision is taken on the interest of leaders, but whatever decisions, plans, vision is to uplift the level of our people. Education now is the pillar of the transformation we are talking about today. I wish you all the best.
May we add another round of applause for Dr. Isaac Nyakazi. Thank you so much. And now the moment we have all been waiting for. But before we dive in, we would like to thank our sponsors again, Imbuto Foundation, Bank of Kigali, Rwanda Revenue Authority that is hosting us here today, Rwanda Governance Fund, Rwanda Governance Board, Rwanda Development Fund, and of course Kigali Channel 2, La Pour Vous, that is covering this whole event for us. So our dear judges, who is going to deliberate for us and who's going to give us we're going to start first of all with mentioning the best speaker, who is going to be awarded 50,000 that is going to help them in their school activities, either through scholastics that they can buy, that they can use for themselves, or different other school activities that they may need. So the first awardee is going to go to the best speaker. So, Mr. Kenneth.
Just like you say, the guest of honor said, this was a very tough job to do.
True.
So we need, each judge has their own scores. So we need a minute to confer.
Okay.
And give you an upgrade position.
Okay.
So would you like to give us a minute or two?
Let's give them a minute or two.
Great.
So just a recap on the Rwanda National Debate Championship that we just witnessed today. It was taking place for the finals that was comprised Kagarama Secondary School together with Lycée de Kigali, and they competed here earlier on, like you guys witnessed, and we're going to finally know the verdict and how they did. And also after the debate that was had by Lycée de Kigali and Kagarama Secondary School, we also witnessed a debate that took place for the masterclass, and those were the representatives from different schools, from different provinces, north, eastern, west, and southern, for those who weren't able to reach the finals, but they were acknowledged and also they were being seen as the best speakers, and so they also as well took part in the debate, which they had a motion which was very heated and very spicy, and I'm sure you guys could tell that it was very interesting and very educative. So does anyone from either Lycée de Kigali or Kagarama Secondary School want to come and give some few information about the debate? Because I'm sure sometimes when our fellow debaters are here, we have something to add on, but we don't have the platform or we don't have the microphone because a heated debate is going on. So does anyone want to add on to any information that was given? Guys, don't be shy. Or I could bring the mic to you guys. Who wants to volunteer? Anyone? You want to volunteer? Yes, come. You can talk about, first of all, how it was being able to represent Kagarama Secondary School, and also what you wanted to add, but because of time you weren't able to add it.
You know, debating is, we talk about what really exists, right? Because we have different experts in the field, we cannot lie, yeah. But if we're talking about what really exists, right? And we have the affirmative and the opposition, and the affirmative is bringing a bound on which we cannot differ from. That is to mean, what is the judge going to do? The judge is going to look at the best team that has competed today. But ladies and gentlemen, what we need as the government for a sustainable development is what can be achievable and what can bring development to the country. And mostly we talked about what I had not been able to reveal. Yes, due to the time shortage, then I think they can increase.
You wanted more time.
Yeah, we
felt
wanted
like you
more
had
time,
a lot
like,
to express.
Yeah, talking as a first speaker and leaving it to all get done and looking at or hearing from other speakers is not that reliable. So if they add more time, then this could be a whole of a thing.
True. Additionally, what advice could you give the youth out there? Because Kigali Channel 2, we like talking about the youth. We like targeting the youth out there. We like to inspire them. What advice could you give the youth out there who feel like they want to express their views and thoughts, but they are held back by certain attributions, such as the fear of public speaking or the fear that they may not be listened to? What advice could you offer? Because you seemed very confident and very highly equipped.
Yes, thank you. Tackling on that problem, yes, we know that there are issues that the youth is facing, like the public speaking problem and more so. But what I would like to tell them, if they are hearing this or they are seeing this, is just that this is not an animal to eat you. It's just expressing yourself and talking about what is true. And this adding of a critical thinking and adding more advantage of listening to what really exists and acquiring of more information, I think this is what's beneficial for the youth that will take part in the government of tomorrow.
Okay, lastly, Boris, if you're to unfortunately lose the battle, how are you going to react as an individual and also representing your school, Kagarama Secondary School?
Yes, once it gets to happen that I lose the debate of today, it's just that I was not able to win today, but I think tomorrow is my turn. That is to mean I will take that skill. I will take the skill of being able to debate today and losing, but add more advantage for the tomorrow's debate.
Sure, you're gaining more knowledge because you've learned a lot.
Sure.
Yes. So thank you so much, Boris, for representing Kagarama Secondary School. Now, Kagarama was represented. Are you guys not going to represent as well? Before the judges give us our last verdict, Lisa Kigali, does anyone want to represent? Come on, don't be beaten by Kagarama. You're around, come. Are you from Lisa? No. You're not, but it's fine. You can be able to contribute.
Thank you. By the name of Rutaisira Abigail. I'm here because I was on the opposition side of the first motion. Due to my reasons that, the biological parents help, but also the academic guardians help. So they should work hand in hand. Besides, I would like to say that the opposition really did their best because they showed us how we can work hand in hand instead of going for one sector majorly, and which will help us to achieve a better than going for one sector when there will be others lacking.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope next time you're going to reach the finals. Okay. So there you heard it, for those who wanted to add and those who also wanted to contribute by listening. I hope you guys have heard. So I think the verdict is in. So Mr. Kenneth, you're going to now tell us who the best speaker was.
Who wants to know? I can imagine. I've never placed a bet on anything, so let me just figure out who is good at betting. Who would you, for the first debate, who would you give it to before? Yeah, let me tease my former boss, Thierry. Who would you give the debate on the motion of whether it should be parents or schools to take charge of stopping teenage pregnancies? Everybody to hear you.
It's actually one of the difficult points, but my point of view, it's like they have to walk hand in hand.
That's one. Let me get from another person. Lillian, what do you think?
I think they all deserve to win.
So it's a tie. They all did well. Okay, how about you?
No, we are still leaving it to you.
Back to the tight corner. So this is how it went. 3 judges, and the first judge gave it to Kagarama. But there are 3 judges. And 2 judges gave it to the opposition. And in our deliberations, it was a tricky decision to call, given the kind of skills displayed on the flow of the debate. All you guys were very good in articulating your points, but in the end, I think one of the speakers summarized it all when they said, let's use both hands to lift the luggage. The guest of honor also made it clear. He said, teenage pregnancies is a public problem. It's a public issue. And while parents have a major role to play, schools and everybody have to actually join in to find a solution. And in Africa, we say that raising a child is a community exercise. It's not something you leave to one party. And the question is, most of these pregnancies, they actually happen away from home. And we have also seen that in our homes, some people who should be parents have also been indicted in sexually abusing children. So it was really tricky. And in the end, we agreed that no, you can't say parents or schools. Everybody is supposed to be joining in. And that's how we gave the debate to the opposition. And then we went to the next session of the masters. The masters gave us a headache because they took me back in the days when I was, in high school and the head of debates in my school. You did a great job. The government said that we have announced this is the new ministerial policy. It's going to be mandatory for everybody to pay taxes online. And they sounded authoritative, just the way government must sound or should sound most of the time. But then the opposition came out and said, look, we really want to support you in going that direction, but look at all these obstacles. And they brought statistics, they illustrated their points well. And when we went out to check our scores, all the judges had given the debate to the opposition. Meaning that we kind of agreed with the side that was opposing the government in saying that it's a good idea, but look, address A, B, C, D before you go that direction. And I think they did a good job in making their points, and we were convinced because it was an enormous, call for all of us. But that's not what you want to hear. You want to hear who the best speaker was.
Mr. Kenneth, before you deliberate who the best school one, are you going to first tell us who the best speaker is from the master's class?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to say. The gentleman from Rusumo.
Please step forward as we have Mr. Thierry to give out the award.
I'm forgetting your name, but all judges scored him as the best speaker. But it was also a tight call, although you emerged the winner. So congratulations, all of you.
Yeah, this is the check. He has earned 50,000. Yes, Franks.
I hope you pass it to his bank account. Huh? I was checking, like it's not physical money, so come in the morning, we open account so that they deposit.
Thank you so much. And now can we have the debaters from both Kagarama Secondary School and Lycée de Kigali to please come forward as the judges give us the final verdict on the winner for the National Debate Championship. Who do you guys think is going to take this home? Kagarama? Lycée? Kagarama, what do you guys think? Guys, have some confidence. Can we have the speakers from all teams? So this is Lycée. Kagarama, please stand here. So before we hear from the judges, can we first hear from you? What happens after this? What next in case you lose or you win?
Thank you very much. My team and I are very expectant to the verdict, but we hope it's fair enough. And then we're ready to learn from
You're
it.
ready, whatever comes through?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you confident you're going to win?
Yeah, I hope so.
You don't look confident.
No, I look confident, and I am.
So say you're going to win.
Yeah, we're winning this.
Okay. So Kagarama Secondary School. What comes after this if you lose or to win? If you're going to win, what are your plans for the next debaters? How are you planning to encourage the rest of the debaters out there, those who want to try it out?
So whichever case, for us, we want to push our ideas until they are implemented. So whether we lose or we win, our ideas will be implemented. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, Mr. Kenneth Agutamo, please let us know the verdict. We have been waiting patiently, and we finally want to know who is going to take this home, the National Debate Championship.
Like we already said, great job by both sides, and it was a tight one to call. And the three judges had to contemplate, great speakers. Some of you almost carried the debate for your sides, but then we had to put in other considerations of what a real debate should be. And in the end, the two judges gave it to one side, and one judge gave it to the other. Let me take this opportunity to say that the judges scored the debate in favor of Eldeka.
I'm sure you guys are very excited. Yes, so can we please have the representative of Rwanda Revenue Authority to come and award the Lycée de Kigali team for taking it home outstandingly. Yes, please, sir. Come. No, come back. Come back.
All right, 150,000. So the check is handed to the winners, Eldeka, and they're so excited. They did a very good job, and we should encourage this job that they are doing. And I hope this becomes an encouragement to continue this good job. Thank you.
So make sure you put this good money to good work and keep educating yourselves as you grow as a school together. So congratulations. Yes. And the first runner-ups, you guys are not going home empty-handed. You guys did a good job. You articulated your points very well. You were able to listen to the others. You showed so much confidence. You showed great skills that you acquired from your schools and from your homes. So you guys are also going to receive a check of 1,000 francs. So please. Okay, can we have the BDF representative to give out the check? Yes.
This is a check for you guys, I think, or for the school? For them? For the school, okay. It's a check of 100,000. Congratulations, you did a great job.
Yes, and now the moment we've all been waiting for, you guys are going to finally receive your trophy. So can we let us have the Minister of State, Dr. Isaac, please come and give out the trophy. guys want to say something?
Hello, everyone. We are very thankful for our teachers, trainers, debate trainers, and of course the National Debate Championship organizers, the judges. Thank you very much. Have a good time. And we thank opponents too. Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, you learned.
And you guys want to say something as well?
Knowledge has been witnessed. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we are debating and the world, all the country has been seeing us, and what we are talking about is going to impact the nation at all. So whichever thing that is the best or is like an idea that can be implemented, I beg you to pick it and take it and use it, because we are here with ministers, we are here with people, and that confidence, and we are schooling, but we are thinking about our country. You know that we are talking about something that is a challenge. So we are ready to fight against challenges when are coming to our country, and when you need us to be used in fighting against challenges, we are ready to fight. Thank you.
So for these competitions, just help me and don't die soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for your participation. You can now take your seats. So for the audience members out there, let me hope next time you guys are going to be taking your seats and hopefully take the trophy home as well. So we would like to thank our guest of honor, Dr. Isaac Munyakazi, for gracing us with his presence, as well as the judges, Minga Greta Bernice, Mr. Kenneth Agutamba, as well as Nimiza Megan, for giving us the final verdict and helping us come to deliberate the final winner of the National Debate Championship. And we would also like to thank our sponsors, Bank of Kigali, Imbuto Foundation, Rwanda Revenue Authority, Rwanda Governance Board, Business Development Fund, and of course, Kigali Channel 2 that was blessing us with the coverage today, La Pour Vous. So thank you guys for following us in the auditorium as well on the TV. Bye-bye.
ubuzima bwanjye bwose nabuhaye wowe kuko ni wowe shingiro ryo kubaho kwanjye ubuzima bwanjye bwose nabuhaye kuko ni wowe shingiro yo kubaho kwanjye. Ibyo ntuze ibyawe nanjye ubwanjye n'uwawe na buri kise ngufite mwami ko umpagije na buri kise ngufite mwami ko umpagije. Isi yose n'ibiyuzuye n'ibyawe mwami wanjye ipfumbatuye ikiganza cyawe uhaza ibyaremye. Isi yose n'ibiyuzuye n'ibyawe mwami wanjye ipfumbatuye ikiganza cyawe uhaza ibyaremwe. Ibyo ntunze n'ibyawe nanjye ubwanjye n'uwawe na buri kise ngufite mwami ko umpagije na buri kise ngufite mwami ko umpagije. Ibyo ntunze n'ibyawe nanjye ubwanjye n'uwawe na buri kise ngufite mwami ko umpagije na buri kise ngufite mwami ko umpagije. Ushimwe mwami wanjye womenyera ubuzima ukaba ku byawe